Extortion happens when someone makes threats of violence, falsely accuses the victim of a crime, or divulges sensitive or embarrassing information about the victim in an effort to get money, property, or other goods. Extortion is against the law on both a state and federal level. Welcome to today's episode of Fraud Files. Today, we will be talking about the case of a New York man who was given a 5-year prison sentence for his involvement in a $4 million extortion scheme. Let's get started. In Waterloo, Robert Evans, 35, of New York, received a 5-year prison term for his part in a complex fraud, extortion, and money laundering scheme in which one of his brothers convinced a Maryland man to steal more than $4 million from his Washington, D.C. employer by posing as a New York gangster. Evans is the case's 4th defendant to get a sentence. U.S. Attorney Matthew M. Graves and Wayne A. Jacobs, special agent in charge of the FBI's Criminal Division's Washington field office, made the news. Evans admitted to interfering with interstate commerce by extortion in April 2021 in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. The Honorable Emmett G. Sullivan handed down his punishment. Judge Sullivan also mandated that Evans complete 3 years of supervised release following his jail sentence. Evans must also pay $777,955 in a forfeiture money judgment and $4,217,542 in restitution in accordance with his plea deal. Evans, his ex-common-law spouse Gina Russell, his brothers Tony John Evans and Corey Blue Evans, as well as his parents Archie Kaslov and Candy Evans, were all charged in April 2018 by a federal grand jury with a number of crimes. According to the evidence provided by the government, a New York woman joined forces with Robert Evans, Russell, Tony John Evans, Corey Blue Evans, and Kaslov as part of the scheme to coerce a Maryland man into giving them money and gold bars, which led to the man embezzling money from his employer between January and March 2017. The man exchanged stolen money for cash and gold bars. He believed the money was going to mobsters, who the New York woman owed money to, so he transported the money and gold bars to drop-off sites in New York, including a hotel room. Tony John Evans called the man on the phone at one time during the scam and intimidated him by informing him of the location of his home and kids' schools. In actuality, the Evans-Kaslov family received all of the money that the man embezzled and sent to New York. Robert Evans, among other things, arranged for a $500,000 cash payment, which required booking hotel rooms, getting the money when the Maryland guy delivered it, and then delivering the money to a co-conspirator. Tony John Evans, Russell, and Robert Evans all admitted guilt to extortion-related interference with interstate commerce. 33-year-old Tony John Evans received a 5-year prison term. Russell, who is also 33, has not yet received a verdict. Kaslov, 55, pled guilty to conspiracy to conduct wire fraud and acknowledged using proceeds from the scam to buy a Rolls-Royce Phantom drophead in Texas for more than $300,000 in cash, sell gold bars for cash, and chauffeur family members about New York. Judge Sullivan sentenced Kaslov to 30 months in jail in April 2022. Candy Evans, 53, admitted to interfering with a witness by deceptive or dishonest means. She acknowledged as part of her guilty plea that when the FBI began its investigation, she advised the New Yorker the Maryland man had met on Backpage to lie to everyone, including the FBI. She also gave Russell the go-ahead to mislead the FBI in November 2017. Judge Sullivan gave her a year and a day in prison in April 2022. Corey Blue Evans, 29, who has pled not guilty, is still facing charges. U.S. Attorney Graves and Special Agent in Charge Jacobs praised the investigation team from the FBI's Washington Field Office Criminal Division in announcing the sentencing. They expressed gratitude for the support received from the Office of the Inspector General of the Department of Justice of the United States. They also recognized the efforts of those who worked on the case for the U.S. Attorney's Office, including forensic accountant Brian Schnitzler, Assistant U.S. Attorneys Oliver McDaniel and Melissa Goforth-Coing, Assistant U.S. Attorneys Diane Lucas and Arvind Lal, who helped with forfeiture issues, Assistant U.S. Attorneys Oliver McDaniel and Melissa Goforth-Coing, who helped with restraining funds. Finally, they praised the investigation and prosecution of the case by Assistant U.S. Attorney Condi Kleinman and former Assistant U.S. Attorney David Kent. According to a statement made by the Department of Justice in a news release on Tuesday, Archie Kaslov, 55, and Candy Evans, 52, were given jail terms for their involvement in a complex fraud, extortion, and money laundering conspiracy. According to the DOJ, their kids, Tony John Evans, Corey Blue Evans, Robert Evans, and Robert Evans' ex-common-law spouse Gina Russell, all had legal issues. According to the DOJ, the scheme targeted a Maryland man who was duped into stealing more than $4 million from his Washington, D.C. employer. The man, who was not named, thought he was rescuing an unnamed New Yorker whom he had met online through Backpage. She stated that she owed money to local mobsters and that this put her in danger. Between January 2017 and March 2017, he stole millions from his employer in order to save her. The money was then transformed into cash and gold bars, which he subsequently distributed to drop-off points all across New York in the hope that it would pay off the mob bosses. But the DOJ said that the money was used to finance a family shopping spree for the Evans-Kaslovs. According to the press release, they utilized it to purchase a Rolls-Royce Phantom drop-head coupe and Rolex watches for hundreds of thousands of dollars. According to the press release, one of the New York couple's kids played the mob enforcer. According to the press release, the woman also planned with the family to coerce the Maryland victim into paying a ransom. According to the press release, Candy Evans panicked in 2017 and proposed to Russell with the New York woman who was complicit in the scheme. At New York City's City Hall, they got married. The DOJ claims that Evans held the opinion that married people could not testify against one another. Evans also persuaded Russell and the New York woman to sign a handwritten confession that was notarized in an effort to clear the Evans-Kaslov family. The news release stated that she later revised her tale to accuse her son Tony John Evans Russell and the New York woman for the extortion operation. Evans received a sentence of 3 years of supervised release following a 12-month and a day prison term. Kaslov was sentenced to 30 months in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Evans and Kaslov will, at some point, have to pay back their swindled funds in restitution. Their son Tony John Evans was jailed for 5 years in September 2018 after pleading guilty to interference with interstate commerce by extortion. Robert Evans and his ex-wife Russell have also pleaded guilty and are awaiting sentencing. Corey Blue Evans has pleaded not guilty. And here we come to the end of today's episode of Fraud Files regarding a New York man who was given a 5-year prison sentence for his involvement in a $4 million extortion scheme. Please subscribe to our channel and push on that like button. Stay tuned to our channel for amazing videos like this one by clicking the bell icon. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section below about this event. We'll see you in another Fraud Files soon.